Another edition of the program from the House, that program that gives you abreast of the happenings in Osun Parliament. I'm Bola Olayobi, your regular hostess on the program. On this episode of the program, our main gist is going to be on the bill for the regulation of the outdoor structure for the display of signage, hoarding, and advertisement in Osun State. Come along with me. Osun Parliament began to consider signage, hoarding, and advertisement bill in September last year. It is a private member bill sponsored by Honorable Femi Farumbi, the Deputy Majority Leader, who is also the Chairman, House Committee on Finance and Appropriation. Osun State's signage, hoarding, and advertisement bill is the second private member bill being sponsored by Honorable Femi Farumbi in the history of Osun Assembly. The bill is aimed at boosting revenue-generating capacity of the state, as well as improving safety on the roads in the state. As stipulated in the bill, the functions of the agency for signage, hoarding, and advertisement shall be to control outdoor structures, issue license and permits for the construction and placement of outdoor structures in any part of the state, protect the environment from potential adverse impact from visual blights, to control the number, size, and location of outdoor structures, as well as ensuring that outdoor structures are properly and carefully designed, erected, modified, maintained, or removed when no longer in use, to avoid potential damage to lives and property. The functions of the agency is also to ensure that outdoor structures are compatible with surrounding land uses and environment, and further ensure that beautification of the immediate surrounding and vicinity of the advertisement. The agency shall control the pasting and display of posters on public structures and highways, organize the procedure to regulate the ownership and operation of outdoor structures for the purpose of signage or advertisements under specific regulations as contained in the bill. The functions of the agency is also to reject, revoke, or modify a permit if found to be in violation of any of the provisions of the bill or the conditions for its grants. Prepare and keep all records related to the issuance and denial of outdoor structures permit, as well as appropriating general records. Monitor and inspect through its monitoring unit any outdoor structure and verify its compliance with the bill. The function of the agency is also to establish a database of all the outdoor structures used for signage and advertisement, their owners and operators, as well as their location and the reason for their operation. It will be recalled that on September 8 last year, the sponsor of the bill analyzed the policy thrust of the signage, hoarding, and advertisement bill after the House had taken the second reading of the bill.
The administrative capacity of the people at the end of affairs, due to lack of certain infrastructure, legal, physical, etc., etc. This is one of the priorities. In order to do it well, we need to put a legal framework in place. And putting the legal framework in place will not solve the problem alone. It will not solve the problem on its own. We need to go further and be specific as to what is expected. And that is what informed this bill. Having 35 sections and 5 schedules. The various sections deals with what is expected of individual, what is expected of the government, what are the roles of the advertising agencies, which areas are actually covered. Mr. Speaker, let me give an instance. You see the mass all over the place. Are the elections being controlled? Could Minister of Environment come out to say this is wrong? We have seen some private buildings being painted with pictures and things like that. A form of advertisement. This should attract revenue. Election will soon come. You see billboards being placed and erected indiscriminately. This should be controlled. Nobody is saying you will not turn anything to. You cannot do what you like. But in doing this, you must be ready to pay. Mr. Speaker, let's go along just begun road. And let me be specific about our banks. The advert is there, the conversion is there, and so on and so forth. Mr. Speaker, we are not saying people should not do this, but they should do it within the ambit of the law.
These were the comments of other lawmakers on the signage, hoarding, and advertisement bill at that plenary session.
Everybody knows the importance of advertisement as being a business promoter. And we know that the billboard, the signpost, is one of the media being used for the purpose. When we look at the advertisement placed in the television, we know that it attracts money. It pays a huge amount of money, likewise in the paper. Then when we look at the way the signposts, the billboard are being placed, scattered all over, we know that definitely the users, they are making use of government like the road setbacks and some other things. Definitely nobody is paying anything for using government land. And in that way, we know that if this bill is passed into law, so definitely, and is implemented very well, we know that definitely it will contribute to the revenue generation of this state.
The bill itself is long overdue, considering its relevance. Dear colleague, Mr. Speaker, you would observe that most of the products that are advertised in Osun State, especially consumable products, are not products of Osun State. The implication of that is that we do not have the opportunity to even tax from source. And where they come from, apart from paying tax there, because in most states, particularly in Lagos, I know this bill has been in operation, this law has been in operation for quite some time. This is the only opportunity for us to at least have some kind of tax from them.
When you go to civilized countries of the world, during the time of election, you go to weather to make small iron something for you. You place it all over, and by the time the election is over, you remove your thing. You can't leave it there perpetually. But in our own society, somebody's well-painted fortress or fence, you just place anything there. Even if you are going on the road and there are electoral campaigns all over, whether you like it or not, they place on your vehicle. That is wrong. We must not continue to behave like people that all don't let us justify what they call us that we are monkeys, we are baboons, that we live on the trees. I've not had it that if they see any of our good areas, like South Africa, like the city of Abuja, they don't believe that is where we come from.
I think there needs to be some form of reorientation of our people, including ourselves, because apart from passing, it's one thing to pass a bill, we also have to maybe lie to the Minister of Information. We need to prepare the minds of our people, because just like you said, in civilized world, I've never seen a place where they put stick posters on walls or anything. Like you said, there's usually a signage on, and you just put it in your lawn, and you can do like a zillion of that. And after the election, you take it out. But guess what will happen if that happens in Nigeria? Overnight, by the time you wake up, it's gone up somewhere. So a lot has to do with orientation of our people. And in order for this to work properly, because as well as Fashola is doing in Lagos, I still know some people that are really, really angry with what he's doing. So what important is that a lot of times, human beings are like, oh, we don't like changes. But eventually it will pay off. But we have to also let the people know that this sign, because I promise you, when this goes into effect, we're going to get a lot of people kicking against it, but it's not really for the benefit of this state. So from here on, we probably need to let our people know, orient them. The orientation is very, very important. And after we do all this reading and the passing of this bill, another thing is implementation. And I really hope, and I'm sure that the relevant authorities will actually work with us, will partner with us on this. Otherwise, this will also just go to the compartment of history, and it will just be, but maybe this will be different because it's going to be generating IGL, it's going to generate IGL for us. And more than anything, this is one thing that we need at this point in time. So I give my support to this bill, and I'm sure the other members will say the same as well.
Speaker Honorable Adejare Bello, who shed more light on the benefits accruable to the state with the passage of the signage, hoarding and advertisement bill, urged its members to give the bill an accelerated consideration.
The ability of passing into law is there. But I'm worried as to the proper implementation of this bill if it eventually becomes the law of the state. And the source of worry is the way the executive arm of government handles laws passed by the House of Assembly when it becomes one or operational after the signature of the chief executive is appended. Apart from serving as source of revenue to the government itself, more than any other thing, the environmental impact of indiscriminate erection of big walls in this state, especially in the state capital, not be controlled.
Meanwhile, since then, House has not been able to progress on the consideration of the bill, but the jinx was broken on Tuesday, March 7, when the Parliament entered into the Committee of the Whole to consider the bill. When the lawmakers got to the clause that has to do with the appointment of the consultant for the agency for the revenue collection in respect of outdoor structures, signage, hoarding, and advertisements, House had to delete the entire clause because it will be to the disadvantage of the state.
So that the collection of revenue in respect of outdoor structures, signage, hoarding, and addressing and advertisements on their behalf. And 3, the agency will delegate to the consultant any other function as it deems fit. Now, if you have all this, the consultant do almost every work, what's the basic work of the civil servant? Okay, apparently.
It was impossible. It was not part of what unfortunately legal advisor is not. Because if approval of all local government chairman is required, it means even if one is not in concurrence. It was at the stage when the local government chairman was saying we don't want to have anything with the state. Miraculously, I don't know how this clause got in there. It did not be in the interest of the state. Come
that particular course. Because what we are about to do with this bill entirely is to set up an agency. And because government is going to rely on that agency in terms of immigration and so many other things. And from what we have been doing so far, it appears we are also trying to equip that agency with the ability and wherewithal to perform their function. Even if they are going to appoint consultants, it should not be a matter of compulsion, it should not be imperative. From that was 9-2, what it appears to me that we are trying to make it mandatory on them to employ the services of consultants. And to me, if in their discretion they do not find it necessary, because the agency, through a memorandum of understanding from all the local government chairmen in the state, shall be empowered. That word is we live in I think we should water it down to give them discretion. That's we make it made.
I don't know why this almost everything, even actually that day everything of is now done by consultants. Yes, it was sound.
And we have a lot of staff sitting down there doing nothing. So we have to be very careful about this clause.
Let somebody move that will delete that clause. I'm not well disposed to this issue of consultants. Anybody without come with any next proposal in the name of consultants. If you are going to help this thing, let's help it. Because, okay, as of today, you talked about the agency itself, is having its own staff, is having all the paraphernalia of an office, everything. The local government have their own staff to. What is the primary function of all these people? What are they supposed to be doing? If they can. Now, you are talking about collecting. If you put a signage in your backyard today, there is no way one local government will not be living around that vicinity. And people will not put signage in the corner now. They put it in a conspicuous place. So if you can just buy a corner for a staff to be moving around the community, check what is the sign of the local government level say that you need consultants. And like the story we have from Oshogo, even when you go to government to pay money willingly, consultant will still collect percentage out of it.
Expose totally clause 9.2 of the bill under consideration. Thank you.
This honorable house delete clause 9.2 from this bill. That's supposed to high. Against me. 9.2 deleted.
Clause 12 of the bill states that the governor shall set up a committee to be known as the Fund Allocation Committee, which shall determine the revenue to be allocated to the state and each local government from the total revenue of the agency.
Which shall determine the revenue to be allocated to the state and each local government from the total revenue of the agency. Is that in order?
Situation too. When the revenue is collected, the bill makes provision that there should be a fund allocation committee who will now put it. Each local government, this is the criteria which we have in existence.
But this law is not referring that it's going to follow the existing pattern.
Yes, I'm only using that as.
I understand what you are saying. What they were right now. Okay, Oshogo.
We also have to take cognizance of the derivative formula, even in distributing local governments. Because if the media must be the law must actually take consideration the fact that if so much is derived from the local government relative to other local governments, and you now come around to say it should be shared equally among local governments, it may not be too good. At the end of the day, even if you don't have a proportional distribution for a particular percentage, but there's something that should even come in as what is derived from the percentage derivable from that local government should also go back to that local government. So the allocation formula, this law should take into consideration a basic revenue allocation for whatever revenue accruing from signage and other fees.
Allocation committee, they shall determine the revenue to be allocated to the states. That is, this particular clause is not giving them that from FAC power to determine the allocation, and which is not in order. Any money, as long as government money for state or local government, should be determined by the House. It's not even the government does not have the power to do that. So probably we should just add based on the existing distribution formula in the state, or based on derivation and existing distribution law in the state. How about that? And so let's add that.
Based on derivation and existing revenue distribution formula in the state.
Yeah, you know better now. And other existing revenue distribution law. That's better.
As the consideration of the signage, hoarding and advertisement bill continues at the Committee of the Whole, it is expected that the bill will be given accelerated consideration and passage. On that note, we are ending the English version of the program for this week. Next Monday is another date, God willing. Sábàlá láti ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin lédè abínibí wa. Nǹkan tá à ń gbé yẹ̀wò lórí ètò lónìí ni àbádòfin kan tí ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ń gbé yẹ̀wò láti fi òṣùwọ̀n lé pátákó ìpolówó ọjà àti àwọn ohun mìíràn tó jẹ mọ́ ìpolówó ọjà lójú pópó ẹ̀bánikálọ̀. Ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìjíròrò lórí àbádòfin láti fi gbèdéke lé ìlò pátákó àti àwọn ohun mìíràn fún ìpolówó ọjà lópòpónà tàbí ìkéde. Àbádòfin yìí ni Honorable Fẹ́mi Fárónbí, igbákejì olórí ọmọ ilé tó pọ̀ jù, ẹni tí ó tún jẹ́ alága fún ìgbìmọ̀ alábẹ́sẹ́kẹ́lé ilé lórí ètò ìṣúná, jẹ́ agbátẹrù rẹ̀. Nínú ìtàn ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun, àbádòfin yìí ni àbádòfin kejì tí Honorable Fẹ́mi Fárónbí máa ṣe agbátẹrù rẹ̀. Àbádòfin láti fi gbèdéke lé ìlò pátákó àti àwọn ìlò ohun mìíràn lópòpónà fún ìpolówó ọjà àti ìkéde wà fún láti mú kí ìkówó wọlé fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí fún ìdàgbàsókè ìpínlẹ̀ yìí gbé pẹ́ẹ́lí sí i. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí a ti ṣe mọ̀ wípé owó tó ń wá láti ọ̀dọ̀ ìjọba àpapọ̀ sí ìpínlẹ̀ yìí kò tó nǹkan kan mọ́ nítorí ọrọ̀ ajé àgbáyé tó dorí kọlẹ̀. Àbádòfin yìí tún wà fún láti dín ìjàmbá ojú pópó kù. Tí a bá rántí, láti oṣù kẹsàn-án ọdún tó kọjá nílé ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìjíròrò lórí àbádòfin láti fi gbèdéke lé lílo pátákó àti àwọn ohun mìíràn lópòpónà láti fi polówó ọjà tàbí ṣe ìkéde. Olórí ilé Honorable Adéjàre Bello sọ nígbà náà pé ó pọn dandan kí àwọn ọmọ ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ṣiṣẹ́ takuntakun lórí àbádòfin náà láti rí i pé ó di òfin lásìkò, nítorí àwọn àǹfààní tó pọ̀ tí ìpínlẹ̀ yìí yóò jẹ pẹ̀lú sísọ àbádòfin náà dòfin. Lọ́jọ́ 7 oṣù kẹta ọdún yìí ni ilé tún bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìjíròrò ní pẹrẹu lórí àbádòfin yìí níbi ìjókòó tí igbákejì olórí ilé Honorable Rọ́pò Oyèwọlé ṣe adarí rẹ̀. Báyìí láwọn rí wọn lórí ètò lónìí, ẹ pàdé mi lọ́sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀ fákòtò ètò ìjẹ́tìgbà náà.